This is the reassembly of a Miniboom. As you can see, this is what people are familiar with the Miniboom. It's got this wrapper that goes around it with the volume buttons and the Bluetooth button on it. And this is the case that it's in. What you can see here is that it was not designed to be disassembled. To get this metal screen off, I had to pry a screwdriver in here and mess up all the corners, and then once it was pried off, of course it didn't come off flat, so I have to bend these things back when I go to reassemble it, kind of like that. It'll be close, but won't be perfect. On this case itself, as I said, there's messed up corners in all corners because this was just glued in. And then on the top of the Miniboom, it's got good base. That's this piece here that doesn't have a speaker behind it, but it does move up and down and basically vibrate the air. Now the hardest thing about taking a Miniboom apart was getting this off, because it is adhered with double stick tape on both sides. So basically I had to peel it off like this and then just keep going until you got it all the way off. So when I put this back together, it's not going to be back together as well as it was in the first place. So what does the inside of the Miniboom look like? As you can see, there's a large battery. There's the on-off switch. And inside of it, you've got the two speakers. I didn't know there was only two. I kind of thought there was one on the top, but that's what it's got. So mine quit working. It wasn't charging, so I was wondering maybe it was the battery, maybe it was swollen in there, or something else was wrong with it. So to get this apart, as you can see, there are screw holes here, 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 and here. That was to get this case off. You can see where the screws are, 4 of them right there. There's also screws on the top, which I will show you as I put it back together, and then on the inside there's those. So everything is glued and double stuck, and it doesn't want to come apart, so putting it back together will be probably, I don't know, I might not even get it back together right, but we'll try, because after all that taking it apart, it wasn't working. The battery seemed fine. The other day I plugged in a charger and the green LED came on and it was working again. So I took it apart for nothing. I don't know why it did that, but now we are going to try to reassemble this. So here's the piece. It's got a little piece of felt that goes on it, probably to keep it from vibrating or getting tinny. And I've tried to straighten that one out as best I could, and I've tried to straighten this one out as best as I could too. Just kind of bending it with my fingers to make it go flat again. So the main thing here in getting this back together is to slide the electronics back in to this box that I'll call the chassis. So it's all just sort of floating in there. Nothing's really keeping it in place. So this piece, there's a little grommet there. Not even sure where that goes actually, but this just sort of fits on here like this. And what I'll have to do is make sure I'm not pinching that white wire too much when I get this back together. I think all I'm going to do is just make sure it's kind of tucked in there. Just like that. There's a little notch right here and another one right here, so that sort of helps center it. And this white wire doesn't move because it's still stuck in there with a little piece of double stick tape. So this is just going to fit in there just like that. And again, the electronics are just floating around, so I'm just going to try to slide this whole thing back into this chassis and hope that it goes in all right. So here we go. Sliding this in, trying to make sure that the buttonhole lines up where it's supposed to be. I'm a little bit off. I'll try to guide it by putting a screwdriver into the jack for the line out, or line in. Okay, there. I think I've basically got it. So, now that that's there, I'm going to drop in screws into the holes. And there's 4 of them on the back here, as well as some, 4 main ones and some smaller ones. I don't remember exactly, I think it was these longer ones that go in these holes. So of course what I'll do is drop one in there and see if I can get it to go in. It feels alright. It doesn't feel like it's the wrong one. Put that one in too. Keep going, drop one in here. And the last one. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Now for this lid, and again the lid, the roof, there's this little grommet here. Don't know where it goes. I'm just going to sort of kind of kick it out of the way when I put it back together. I just don't like how that white wire is sitting there like that. Maybe I can make it go kind of around this. That might be better. Yeah, that seemed a little better. Okay, and then this one, there's these 2 little clips here. I'm just going to try to snap it back in there. Well, that was alright. So, got 4 screws on the top, and I've got 4 large screws left. I'm going to take a wild guess and think maybe those are the ones that go on the top. And how will I know if I'm right or wrong? Well, if they stick up a little bit, because the other ones are shorter. That seemed to be alright. I know, I should have labeled it or something, but when I was taking this apart, I didn't think I would ever be putting it back together. I thought it was ruined. It's bulging out a little bit right there. But maybe once I put this screw in, it'll look a little better. Okay, now I mentioned we've got some smaller screws over here. I'll just reattach those. Alright, now that I've done that, let's do an experiment here. Hope it works. I'm going to switch it on. It works. Turn it back off. Okay, went back off. Alright, now to put these grates back on, again, it's got this little piece of felt. Goes over there. And then this piece that, again, is just going to get pressed into there, into this little slot. Just like that. And this one will also get pressed in. To the slot. And there's a notch on the top of it, I guess, so the guys like me, or the assemblers in the factory, get it right the first time. There. So that's all back together. And now, let's try to get this thing back on. It went on very easily because the double stick tape has been essentially ruined. You can see it there. Now I can always get some more and try to stick it back on there. But that concludes the reassembly of the Miniboom, and it works.